justice in the manner we enact laws. As you know, Mr. Speaker, the courts will take a dim view on any person who fails to comply with procedure as laid down by this House. This will ensure that these procedures, Mr. Speaker, regulate rights and privileges that are enjoyed by Kenyans and any person who comes into this nation. Just to mention just a few things that we noted, Mr. Speaker, which we did not put in our report if we are to deal on the merits of this matter. Mr. Speaker, this is an organization that was established in the Netherlands. And it came into this country having been registered in that other country, Mr. Speaker. And we wanted to know why it deregistered itself in that particular country. Mr. Speaker, there was no public participation that was undertaken, as required by Article 118 of the Constitution and Article 10 of the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, clearly, this was in total breach of the Constitution. So this order in itself is unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker. So I support that this order be declared null and void by this House. And therefore I support. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also join the Committee of Delegated Legislation, or rather let me support the report of Committee on Delegated Legislation on recommending to nullify in its entirety the privileges and immunities the Global Center for Adaptation Order published as Legal Notice number 82 of 2025, based on the facts that have been presented to us by my good friend, the MP for Gishugu, who happens to be a member of the committee. And Honorable Speaker, for record purposes, I was a member of the committee in the last term, but this term I have not been a member of the committee. Honorable Speaker, the Global Center for Adaptation is an international organization that was established as part of the Paris Agreement on climate change resilience and climate change management. Its headquarters is in the Netherlands, and of course the fundamental questions that we need to start asking: to what extent, whether there is a diplomatic mission or not, that's a question we need to answer, and probably in the fullness of time, we need to have to ascertain that particular notice. But Honorable Speaker, the mere fact that the State Department for Foreign Affairs proceeded to publish and enforce the order without the approval of Parliament is the highest level of impunity, is the highest level of breach of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, truth be told then, whoever appended his signature or her signature in getting the order published breached the Constitution, acted unconstitutionally, and therefore, Honorable Speaker, is liable for a sanction probably under the various articles of the Constitution of Kenya, because you cannot purport to be a public servant who have sworn to uphold the Constitution, and you are the very first person to disregard the provisions of the Constitution and proceed to publish the order and get it enforced. I would want to challenge the committee. I can see the chair and the vice chair are in animated discussion. You need to ask whoever signed and published the order to really come and account for that unconstitutional edict. To be honest, we cannot allow that level of impunity to prevail and go unpunished. That is unacceptable in modern day. Honorable Speaker, we tend to favor these diplomatic missions even beyond what we do to our own people, who slug out day and night to get things moving. And I want to commend the committee for having stood up. I'm sure there must have been a lot of pressure from the executive or other corners to get it passed. But at least for the very first time, your side had the courage to say no and to uphold the constitutional provisions. Honorable Speaker, we even ask Kenyans, when we go out of this country, for either to work or not, I've been to very many missions, talking to diplomats there, and they are very clear in their views. They say they have to comply with the laws of the country. The diplomatic immunities that are accorded is only for the mainstream diplomatic missions that are truly and purely accredited by that country. And whichever way, there are some things that are a no-goes on. Things about taxation, things about having immunity against criminal action is something that is beyond. This cannot be entertained in those countries. Why us here in Kenya, we allow that kind of a thing to happen and then let these foreigners go scot-free is baffling. It's just a continuous act of dereliction of duty for those people charged with those offenses. Honorable Speaker, there are very many times foreigners commit offenses, they're scripted away at night, so that by the time they have to answer for those offenses, you are told they're no longer in the country. As I stand here today, Honorable Speaker, the man who was being beaten in Eldoret by the Chinese comes from my constituency. I asked a question here, they have never received an answer. The gentleman was badly injured. Nobody has ever bothered to attend to them. In this disguised view that we want foreigners to invest in our own country. As Baba Mo used to say, nobody will come from anywhere to develop this country. We have to do it ourselves. And if we have to do it ourselves, we must be extremely hard on these foreign investors who come to with nothing most important to invest and get us done, get moving. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, I want to urge the committee to remain courageous in view of the intimidation you normally have to receive. Remain courageous, and God will forever remember that you existed and probably saved this country from one of these funny things that is going to happen. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The member for Marsabit.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this very important debate. And from the onset, I support this motion. And Honorable Speaker, I support it because of the experience that we are having in this country of late, and even in the past, because many of our citizens have suffered in the hands of foreigners. And I support this because the committee has made the right observation. And I like what they have said. Number 4, having examined the Privileges and Immunities Global Center for Adaptation, Order 2025, Legal Notice number 82 of 2025, in accordance with the Constitution, the Interpretation and General Provision Act Cap 2, the Statutory Instrument Act Cap 22A, and the Privileges and Immunity Act Cap 179. The committee recommends that the House declares Privileges and Immunities Global Center for Adaptation, Order 2025, Legal Notice number 82 of 2025, nullity for failure to adhere to Section 17 of the Privileges and Immunities Act. This, Honorable Speaker, is a serious gap that the committee members have observed. And I want to congratulate the members of this committee for standing in the gap and salvaging the situation. Honorable Speaker, if we cannot nullify this today, many Kenyans will suffer in the hands of foreigners who come in the pretense of investing in this country, starting companies that can employ our young people, and at the end of the day, many Kenyans suffer in their hands. The example that many honorable members have referred to is something that has moved the entire nation and the entire world. And just remembering the number of our young people who have been maybe infected by that particular Russian man is a story that will affect us for the rest of our lives. And many families, and I know many young people, many women today may be depressed of this. Honorable Speaker, we know very well that many investors have come and have mistreated members or citizens of this country. Some have even taken some very important documents from them, hidden their identity cards, their passports, mistreated them, used them as their workers, social workers or workers, and at the end of the day, without even paying them. And Honorable Speaker, nullifying this will save this country and also will give us our pride that we need. And with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Thank you. Member for Gases.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also rise in support of the report of the Delegated Legislation Committee on the Privileges and Immunities, the Global Center for Adaptation, Order number 2025.